Hi, it's Stephanie Barnes, and I just thought I would make a quick recording to go with this reference handbook for creativity icebreakers that I put together and shared with everyone. I thought it would be easier to do a little video and share it rather than try and schedule everybody's time. I'm just starting this and I'm just going to do it off the top of my head, so I'm not quite sure how long it will go. I'm hoping for not more than an hour. If it's more than an hour, I'm going to redo it and make it shorter, but I don't think it'll be that long. I hope. I just thought I would walk everybody through the exercises and hopefully give you enough information that you feel comfortable doing them on your own. And they really are quite simple, easy exercises to do. Don't overthink them and make it harder than it is, because it's really not. Okay, let's go through this all. Let's see, how do I do this? Okay. So you're going to get all the mistakes and things I make because I'm not used to doing this way. So this is just a little quote from Henry Matisse that I liked, so I shared that with everybody. And these are the references that I used. These activities have come from all over the place. I didn't necessarily have references or sources for all of them because I've done them for a while. I will say, though, I did not make any of them up myself. I've gotten inspiration or copied them from someplace else. So in some cases, these are the references where they came from, and in other cases, I just have no idea because I've been doing them for so long. This is a list of the contents, and so I'm going to go through each of these with you. The only supplies you really need, or the biggest supplies you really need, are curiosity and open mind. You do need a piece of paper for some of them, or something to make a mark with, colored pens or pencils, markers, something like that. But I often just do them in my sessions with, a pen and paper. Nothing too complicated. And some of them, there's a couple that are around music, and so you need something to make noise with. But again, that can be as simple as a pen on the side of a coffee cup or a glass of water. Again, nothing complicated. Or turn the coffee cup over if it's empty, or maybe go run to the kitchen and get an empty one, and use that for a drum. Again, like I say, nothing too complicated. And I did that on purpose because I don't want people to have an excuse not to do them. So the purpose is just to add some creativity, shift the energy in a room. I use these in my workshops and things all the time. Some of them are my favorites. If you've ever attended any of the sessions that I've done, webinars or classes or anything, you've probably done one or two of them with me. And so they're just to add a bit of fun, because I don't think we need to be deadly serious all the time. Having a bit of fun is a good thing. It helps us be more engaged and helps us look at things differently and come up with new and different ideas. So, and it's fun just to have fun. We don't need to be deadly serious all the time. So there's a variety of things that are in this. Scribble drawings, there's haiku, there's poems, there's improv. There's tons of stuff beyond what's in this. So is really just put together to get people started and give them an idea. So this is the guided visualization that I use quite often. It's the one that I started with. I've written out created a couple of my own, but this is the one that I've shared. It comes from this book, Orbiting the Giant Hairball, which is an excellent book, by the way, if you haven't read it. Excellent book. And so when you're doing this, just read it out loudly and slowly. Remember to take a breath or two at the end of each line. In the copy I've got breathe written down on just about the end of every line. So I took that all out just to make it a little bit easier to fit on the page. But yeah, just do it slowly, and breathe. As fast as it feels to you, when you're reading it, it is not fast. It's too fast for the people that are listening. So they want you to go slowly. And this should take about 3 minutes to do. Sometimes I'm better at than others at breathing and taking and slowing down, and it takes me 3.5 or 4 minutes. If I'm at the 2-minute mark, that's too fast. So practice it a few times if you want beforehand, just to slow the pace down. But yeah, make sure you go slow. And after each of the activities, I've put a slide in or page in to reflect. So that's just to have a little bit of a discussion with people after whatever the activity is. Get them to talk about what they liked, what they didn't like. Was it easy? Was it hard? There's some prompts there, some questions there that you can choose to use or not. But it is important to take a minute and just reflect. Again, it helps slow things down and helps people engage and helps build in some time for thinking and reflecting, which is really important. So the scribble drawings, again, here's the scribble drawings instructions. I do these all the time. You can do these, any of these activities you can do in person if you happen to be in person. The scribble drawings is nice if you're in person, because you, instead of just turning it around and adding the additional lines yourself, you can have them pass it to the person in the next to them. And so pass it 5 or 6 times. Make sure you have them write their name on it if you're doing that. But when we're doing it virtually, they just need to turn it around and look at it from different angles and add 4 or 5 or 6 embellishments to it and see where it goes. You can do the step 6 and step 7 there. Sometimes I skip those depending on how much time I have. If I just have an hour, I might skip those if I'm running out of time. But if I have the time, then I definitely do those things. They just help, again, loosen people up and get them out of their heads a little bit more and let them write about whatever might have come up for them while they were doing the scribble drawings. So again, all you need though is a pen and a piece of paper, nothing fancy. So, and you can reflect at the end after that. Again, it was easy, was it hard? Did they like it? Did they not like it? Did they think it was stupid? Did they get any insights? People often will get insights. From this, I had somebody come up with a solution to a branding problem she'd been struggling with once when I did these. So people have all kinds of reactions. So again, it's important to take a minute and debrief and talk to them and see what their experience was before you move on to the next thing. The second activity is another drawing one. Drawing is energy, and again, the instructions are there. They just need to have a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper. It's basically doodling for 5 minutes. Some people want to keep their pen on the paper, their pencil on the paper for the 5 minutes. That's fine if they want to do it that way. That's not a problem. As you can see, the image on the page is from one time when I did this. So you can see, this person did not. They just doodled and made shapes and things for the 5 minutes. So people can do it both ways. I've had people do it both ways. It doesn't matter. It's just about making marks and doodling for the 5 minutes to try and fill the piece of paper. So they don't need to draw any elaborate pictures or anything. It's just doodling. Like I say, this picture that's on this page came from somebody that did it in one of my workshops ages ago. So I put it up as an example. So yeah, they may or may not fill the paper in 5 minutes, and that's fine. Again, we're just reflecting at the end. A lot of these, you can talk about how they were feeling before or and after. A lot of people will find an energy shift. If they were tired, it somehow reinvigorated them or energized them. It's given them a different perspective, something that's been bothering them has worked itself through, or they've got some insight. So yeah, just have a conversation about that. The third activity is called The Answer is Always Yes. This is an improv game, and it's fun. It's a cute little game. People get a little laugh out of it. I do it in breakout rooms when I do it virtually. If you're in the room, of course, you can just divide up in pairs and have them go to different parts of the room, or out in the hall or something if the group is big and you need a bit of space. But breakout rooms, it works perfectly well too. And the interviewers ask a yes or no question that would be hard to answer just with a yes. So the example is it true that you are the offspring of Elvis Presley and a space alien? So, I mean, you could say yes or no to that, but it's hard just to say yes or no to that without the interviewer saying, "Oh, can you say more about that?" And of course, the game is called The Answer is Always Yes. So you have to answer the question yes. So, are you the offspring of Elvis Presley and a space alien? Yes, I am. And the interviewee has to really wholeheartedly embrace the concept of the question. So back to the example, yes, I'd love to take you for a ride on my blue suede spaceship. Or yes, and you'd be amazed at how people on Mom's home planet respond when I sing there. So they really need to embrace whatever this question is. And then they just switch roles. And so it only takes a couple of minutes in the breakout rooms, and then bring them back. And again, debrief. Did they find it easier to be the interviewer or the interviewee? There's no rhyme or reason to this. I've had some people love being the interviewers, some like being the interviewee. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Everybody has a different preference. And so, have a discussion about why that is, why they liked it or didn't like it. And did they discover any questions that that they had to answer yes, but they really didn't agree to? And how easy was it to divorce themselves from familiar realities and invent new ones? Certainly being a space alien and the child of a space alien and Elvis is a bit hard possibly for some people to divorce themselves from. So that's the question that their partner may have come up with may have been equally or more difficult to divorce themselves from reality. So that's a little question to debrief or talk about. The fourth activity is one word at a time. This is another improv game. Works well in person because you can see, form a circle and see. If you're doing it on Zoom or video conferencing, you'll need to number people beforehand so they know what order. I've done it that we just write the order in the chat window so people know what the order is, and then we do it that way. So that's the only glitch for doing this in person, or sorry, in doing this virtually, is that you need to define the order ahead of time, because it's the Zoom does it differently for everybody, puts it in a different order. So just specifying that order ahead of time using chat, or have people write the numbers in their name on the Zoom window. There's a couple of different ways at least that you can do that. And the first person starts a sentence with a word, whatever word they want to choose, and then the next person adds a word to the sentence. And so each person adds a word to the sentence and have it go around the circle, around the group. And the instructions say the goal is to say a word without hesitation so that it sounds like a naturally spoken sentence. It can get quite interesting and quite fun. When the sentence is complete, the next person can continue with a totally new sentence. It doesn't need to be connected to the previous sentence. If you have a big group, you might go around once or twice or 3 times even. A small group, you might go around a couple times. Yeah. And big or small, you could go around a couple of times just to have a bit of fun with it. So, and then of course our reflection. Notice what helps a team successfully say the sentence all together, and what stops them from saying a word right away when it's their turn. So, some different things to think about. Again, how hard was it, or did they find it hard or easy? What made it easier? What made it harder? Just take a few minutes to reflect. Making music. So this one, you need, a couple of pens to bang together, something to make some noise with, a coffee or tea cup, a pen or pencil, something, bang on the desk, a desk lamp, maybe to tap a pencil on. I don't have a pencil here with me doing the recording because I'm not sitting at my desk to do this. Just something to make some noise on and test out your noise. You can do mute and unmute. So if they want to test it out, they can mute themselves first before they join in. Something sounding goofy is desirable. This is meant to be fun and just shift the energy. Find 3 different sounds that they can make, soft, medium, loud with whatever they're making noise with. And then just improvise some music for a couple of minutes. Have someone start by playing a beat or the rhythm, and have the rest join in, and just have some fun with it. And not being serious. It doesn't matter how your rhythm is. Just make some noise. I do find the music ones people get a bit more shy about them than the drawing ones, because it's making noise. At least some people don't like the noise making aspect of it. Possibly if they're in the office, they might attract some attention that makes people wonder, or at home certainly too, if they have kids or their partner is working at home or something. Is something to keep in mind with this one. I probably don't do this one quite as often as I do some of the other ones, just because of that, and plus I'm not particularly musical, and so so I do it a little less often. But again, some reflections there. This one is another drawing one, but drawing to music. I used Beethoven's Ninth, and use the YouTube video or one of the YouTube videos for Beethoven's Ninth. I just like it. Make sure that the sound is connected in when you share your screen, or else give people the link and have them listen to it locally. You'll have to have them put their laptops on mute, otherwise you'll get echo and feedback and stuff happening. So if they're listening to it locally on their machines, on their laptops or phones or whatever, have them mute, but they can do that too if you have trouble with the volume and the music over doing it by screen sharing on Zoom or whatever. I have done it both ways. It's a little bit easier if I share it, but sometimes that's not worked out so well, and so we've just shared the link and done it that way. Depends on different factors. So, and it's I don't have the time down there. I usually do this for 5 minutes, and just have them draw and doodle away to the music for 5 minutes. And again, our reflection. what came up, what did they like, what did they didn't like, did they like the music or not like the music, would they have preferred something else. And certainly if you don't like Beethoven's Ninth, feel free to play some other music, whatever you would like, or maybe have the group pick a song to do it too. You can do it that way as well. Haiku, little poems. So we take 5 to 7 minutes, and haiku, just as a reminder, are 3-line Japanese poems, and they have 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and 5 syllables again in each line. So they're quite fun to create, and just give people 5 minutes and see what they can come up with. Just a little bit of fun. So again, our reflecting, did they like it? Did they not like it? And some other prompts there about, have they written haiku before? Maybe some people have written them in school, in high school. I did them in high school. I used to do them sometimes in meetings when I was bored. So just have a little reflection. Desktop sculpture is our 8th activity, and just use items that you have in and around your desk to make a little sculpture on your desk. Sometimes I let people go and grab a container from the kitchen if they're working at home, if they need something, or maybe run to the kitchen in the office and grab something if they need some kind of container. They don't have a container on their desk to use as kind of a base, and and they just use paper clips and pens and pencils and books and whatever they might have on their desk to create a sculpture. Give them 7 minutes. That includes the time to run and grab something if they need to run and grab something. But use your judgment. If people are done after 4 or 5 minutes because they didn't need to run and grab something and they've run out of stuff on their desk, that's fine. You can have them swivel their laptop around or their computer around so that they can show the object, their sculpture, on screen, or take a picture and upload it to the chat or whatever to share it. And with any of these that are drawing or creating something, I never ever make anybody share something that they don't want to share. So if they've scribbled something or built a desktop sculpture that they're self-conscious of or don't feel good about, they don't need to share it. If they want to share, that's great. And certainly the haiku falls into that as well. If they want to share the haiku from the last exercise, that's fine. And if they don't, that's fine too. This is all meant to be done in a safe space. And so if people aren't comfortable to share their creations, whatever the creation is, that's perfectly fine. They don't need to do that. Just give people, some people like to share and it is good to share, but like I say, if they don't want to, they don't need to. And certainly if you have a big group, you probably don't have time to have everybody share. So I typically will share my creation just to be encouraging people and showing them that, mine look crappy too. And that's okay. Because it's just about having fun and shifting energy and getting in a different mindset and getting out of whatever rut we might have been stuck in. So again, some reflection on the sculptures. This is another little fun activity to do as a group. You can, if you have a small group, you can do it as a group. If you have a bit bigger group, and you can do breakout rooms, and just have the people in the breakout rooms or in your group brainstorm the things that we have in common. So maybe what we have for breakfast, or whether we went to university or college or took the train to work that morning or have traveled someplace, whether we're vegetarians or vegans or all kinds of things. speak different languages. What languages do you speak? There's all kinds of things to come up with 10 things. If the group is too big, it gets a little bit more challenging, I'm going to say, to find 10 things and keep it within a small amount of time, 5 or 10 minutes. So if the group is bigger, groups of 3 or 4 is probably big enough to break out into breakout rooms to do that. So, and again, we do the reflection. Were you surprised to discover the things that you had in common? Was it easy or hard to find things? I know in some of the other prompts that we've seen before. So yeah, just have a little chat about that. Especially about being surprised about the things that are in common or not in common too. Number 10, aliens have landed. This is another improv. Sorry, no, not improv. This one is about aliens have landed on Earth and want to learn about your company, country, or city. They don't speak any of the Earth's languages or understand your way of life, so it needs to be explained with 5 symbols or pictures. And take 5 to 7 minutes and find 5 photos or draw 5 symbols that tell a story about your company, country, city, whatever. And so you can do this as individuals, or you can do this in groups of 2s, and have people put together photos. They can grab photos from the internet or draw something that would tell the story about whatever you need to tell the story about. So it helps get people out of that language mode and into images. So again, some reflections on that activity. Activity number 11 is story cubes. This is a little game that I have that I bought in one of the bookstores here. The bookstore has a little game section. You can buy them on Amazon too, or toy stores. I did look for a friend of mine in Canada. They have them in Canada as well, so I'm sure they're available, in toy stores or bookstores, or like I say, you can order them on Amazon. There are different sets. This is just the general basic beginner set, but they have sets that have themes around horror stories or adventures and things. So, and the idea is you just roll them and create a story based on the pictures that come up. If you're doing it in person, then you can share them in person. When I'm doing it online, I shake them ahead of time and take a photo of them and upload it, put it in the slides, put it in my notes for my preparation for the meeting, the online meeting. And I find this works well in breakout. If you're doing this online, works well in breakout groups of 2, 3, 4 to create a little story. Everybody can have the same pictures. You don't need to roll different dice for and have different pictures for each group, because each group will make their own different story even though they're seeing the same cubes, because the images have different meanings to the people in the group. So so that's that. So they give them 5 minutes to make up a story. They can write it down, or somebody keep notes. Don't suggest using the chat window for it, just because it gets a little discombobulated with everybody doing it. So encourage them to take notes separately, or do something, create a Word document, or if you're using Miro or something else for the meeting or the workshop, you can give them a little space in Miro to capture their story. So and they just make the story from the cubes. Hopefully they can use all of the cubes, but if for some reason they can't or they run out of time, that's okay. But usually 5 minutes is good. And of course, our little reflection, again, with the similar prompts. And if you have any other prompts that you want to use when you do the reflection after each activity, that's fine too, of course. Activity number 12, this came from the IDEO Unlocking Creativity course that I took. And this is non-dominant hand drawing. So this was a little bit of fun. Again, piece of paper and pencil, and create an elephant, a car, and a person, the person beside you, or you can do a self-portrait with your non-dominant hand. So I'm left-handed, I would use my right hand. And draw those things and see what it looks like, especially the person next to them, or the self-portrait is really interesting. So the only recognizable thing on my self-portrait was my curly hair and my glasses. After that, it could have been anybody. But it's fun to do, and the fact that you're doing it with your non-dominant hand takes a lot of the pressure off, trying to make it look perfect. So yeah. And there's then when you've got it done, crumple it up and throw it over your shoulder, so get rid of it. And then of course we do our debrief and talk about that. So, and the idea of crumpling it up and throwing it away is just that it's just an exercise. It's not about being perfect and, having something to keep, it's just about shifting energy and impermanence, and, on to the next. We have to iterate. So activity 13, musical musings. Pick a song that you like, but that you don't know all the words to, and listen to it all the way through. Is there something in the lyrics that you hadn't noticed before? Who wrote it? Why did they write it? How does it make you feel? Follow your curiosity. So this one they're going to need to pick. They can pick their own songs. They can be on mute for 5 minutes while they do this, and just follow their curiosity. And again, this came from the IDEO Unlocking Creativity course. You maybe need to give them 5 or 10 minutes for this. This might take a bit longer than some of the other activities, just because they need to figure out a song and listen to the song. Hopefully it's not, Stairway to Heaven or something really long. But they'll need to listen to it and think about it. So this one will take a little bit longer. So give them 10 minutes maybe to do this one, and have them on mute. So again, the debrief. Was it easy, hard? What did they like? Did they pick out anything that they hadn't noticed before? Any thoughts that came up? Activity 14 is visual thinking strategies, and this is about looking at the world and in a different way, and seeing what stories we can come up with. I've included 3 paintings in this to do to have a discussion around. So you can do 1, 2, or all 3 of them. I just included 3 just to give a bit of variety and try it out. So I did put the name of the picture and the artist underneath it. So and it's just about having a conversation of what's going on in this picture. Why do you say that? And what more can we find to back up that initial impression? So doing that on each. So this is Traveling Companions. This is my second sermon. What more can we find in this? So what's going on? What makes you say that? And what more can we find? And the final one, again, same questions. So you can do all of them or none of them. It's just interesting to see the stories that we create around these things, and what different people pick out and what meaning we attribute to them. So those three. And then, of course, a reflection. What did you like? What role did the facilitator play? How might you use this in your own work? This idea of how do we what stories do we tell ourselves, and digging into things a bit more. So activity 15, I know. It's an improv game. One person says, I know. The group replies, what? The first person says, we should all. And the group replies, yes, let's. And everyone does whatever the activity that was suggested by the first person. And then someone thinks of something else to do and starts over by saying, I know. And this continues until the facilitator ends the activities. This one can be quite physical. So one person says, I know, and the group replies, what? And the first person says, we should all dance. And everybody gets up and dances for a couple of seconds around their desk. After they say, yes, let's. And so, there's all kinds of possibilities here. I've just done this once before, and with another facilitator. We were exchanging ideas of icebreakers and things, and this was one of hers that she used. So I've done it with her, and it did get quite physical. We got up and hopped around our desks and jumped around and danced, and then, me being the introvert, said we should all hold our breath. And so we held our breath. So I chose something more quiet. She was an introvert an extrovert, and had us up dancing around. So then people can if you're up dancing around and people are self-conscious, they can turn their camera off and so that people can't see them. But honestly, everybody's jumping around and nobody cares and nobody's looking at the screen. So this is good to do 3 or 4 rounds. Again, take 5, 6, 7 minutes, and do this, and go through this cycle. I know what. We should all jump up and down, make funny faces, put our clown noses on. Yes, let's. And then we all do it. So that's a bit of fun. And of course we do our debrief. What did they like? What did they not like? There you go. So, and that's it. This is a little book list. There's actually 2 pages of books here. I'm going to flip the slide here in a second. These are all books that have somehow influenced my thinking around Radical KM. These first 7 books on this page are the ones mostly that were referenced in the first paper. And then the second page is stuff that has influenced me since I wrote the first paper. I think it's actually a bit longer now because I haven't added the books from the summer, but that'll keep you going. And then that's my link to my Radical KM papers. The Frontiers in AI one is open to the public, open source, or open. You can get it without any problems, no paywalls. The other 2 papers are behind a paywall, and I actually have a 3rd paper about gamification in KM that I published a few years ago. But if you go to this ORCID, that'll list all the papers. The ones that are behind a paywall, if you want to get any of them, just drop me an email, and I can send you the PDFs. I can't post the PDFs publicly because of the publisher, but I'm happy to send the PDFs. So they're there too. And that's my contact information if you need to get in touch with me. And we're just at the 40-minute mark, so that's good. And I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me either by email, or I'm on WhatsApp. That's my phone number. So I'm on WhatsApp and I'm on Signal with that. So feel free to reach out. And yeah, good luck. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you have some fun. And thanks for watching. Bye.